Okay, so it's what? The 14th of January. It's been a minute because the last video I uploaded, YouTube didn't like, so it removed it. Maybe because I was talking about something that was truthful. But I've looked through a lot of my videos, and there's a lot of them that have been removed, violations of this, violations of that. And the thing is I title my videos, or I used to title my videos in such a way that you can look at the title of the video and you know that the fact it's been removed, that what I was saying in it was probably quite true. Most people, even people who are asleep per se, can see this now. They can see the programming. So it turns out I can't. Oh, that's a lovely Kembo out there. Oh, I better not talk about that, better I? One of those things. Geoengineering, even though that geoengineering has been admitted in this country, we've got Parliamentary Act of Statute on it. I can't go into detail on it because I don't like that. I'm not allowed to talk about things like this either. Um, or health in any form, way whatsoever. So Dr. Campbell, Professor Angus Douglas, and there's another guy, and I can't think what his name is off the top of my head. They all talk about iodine and vitamin D. They've put it in such a way that it haven't been banned or violated. So go and watch them. As someone who's menopausal, I've noticed that today is a very bright day, and I've been monitoring my cycle with the moon and dull or whatever days. And although my hormones are on the floor, I've got high testosterone because I work out, but I always have had. The light plays a huge role. I refuse point blank to go on HRT for my own personal reasons. Not everyone is capable of doing that, but I've managed to so far avoid it. Um, there's lots of things that are right and wrong about whatever else, but sunlight is vital, and it's an actual fact that unless your shadow is shorter than you, your skin isn't producing vitamin D, and if you're smothered in suntan lotion, it isn't. Um, but it's quite clear that our innate immune system runs on, is that a vitamin D? That's amazing. You've got an aircraft flying with a contrail at the back. It is a genuine contrail into a cloud, and then an aircraft next to it with nothing. It's like, what is the air warm there? It might be a propeller plane, I suppose. Anyway, I digress. Back to where I was, so I could see them out the window because there's actual light. Look, ooh, light. So sunlight's vital, and it's quite obvious that our innate immune system runs on it. Now, can you see that teeth? It's loose, right? I refused point blank to pull it because that became loose mid-September. And funny enough, when vitamin D becomes not something you can make very easily in the Northern Hemisphere, especially England, it's between September and March, and then you start getting a window of 2 or 3 minutes as it grows from midday either side to the sun getting high enough. And that obviously I've noticed as well, I don't know if other people have noticed that when you get any kind of sickness, it comes in through here, through here, through here. Obviously, probably not, but more so, and through your eyes. Well, your mucus system stops things from getting any further. Like your mucus is clear, then it goes white to say T cells are operating, and then it goes yellow to say it's clearing stuff out and infection. Goes back to white, back to clear. If it goes green and other colours, you might actually be sick. Um, but it's there as a defence system, and everyone else has been getting sick around me. And the only thing I've had is a runny nose occasionally for like days or so. Then it goes. It's never gone any further because my innate immune system's got the fuel from sunlight to function. And it seems that vitamin D is fat soluble, but you can only store it for like 14. That's like a flash rate of about 14 days. So after 14 days, you need to replace it with oily fish and cod liver oil and stuff like that. And obviously, there's exceptions that there's some people who are on certain medications, especially if it's calcium's involved, where vitamin D can be fatal. So if you've got a thyroid issue, you're on medication with your doctor, or you're taking calcium or eat calcium-rich foods, or even perimenopause, K2 needs to be involved if you are considering taking vitamin D as a supplement. You could do it all different ways. You could do it via sunlight. See, the best if you do it via sunlight, it's better because your skin protects you. That's why you change colour. Um, because I always wondered that. I was like, well, surely it would make more sense for people who live in hot countries to be white because white reflects all of the colours of the spectrum, where black absorbs it, so potentially they'd be hotter. Well, the reason why the skin goes black is because of melamine. Well, melamine protects you from ultraviolet. Ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B is what vitamin D is, if you like. I think it's A. Can't remember which one it is. Um, so your skin changes colour, so you don't overdose. Your body's kind of almost keeping you in line. So if you've got dark skin and come to the northern hemisphere, you can't absorb as much vitamin D in the time that you've got. It's almost like you have to sit out in the sun longer. Yeah. But it always blew my mind. I was like, well, why? Why? Because there's always talk that white reflects, black absorbs. So it made no sense to me. But then it does make sense because if you get vitamin D via sunlight, it's quite difficult to overdose on it other than burning yourself and causing harm like that. Your skin kind of goes darker to help you not absorb too much. And then it's stored in fat and in your liver, and your liver transfers it. It takes a period of time when you get it through food to transfer it into active vitamin D, if you like. But your innate immune system runs on it. It says on a pack, you only have to look at these packs here. It says here, normal function of immune system, normal absorption and utilization of calcium in bones and maintenance of normal bones and teeth. That's why I said if you take calcium, you've got to be careful. A K2 might be needed. I take this one. Hold on. I'm not advising anyone to take this, by the way, just so YouTube don't get all funny about algorithms. But K2 is something you need to think about, especially if you're taking um, calcium supplements. And it also says here, maintenance of normal muscle function. The other thing it says underneath as a little reference, vitamin D also has an important role in the process of cell division. Now, am I wrong? But isn't the big C a form of cell division malfunction? So then it makes me think to myself, well, what are the highest deficiencies in the world globally? And it's vitamin D and iodine. And both them things are very important for hormone regulation and general regulation of the body's functions. So surely it's got something to do with the immune system, just thinking logically. So once again, we're in January and I haven't been sick. I had a headache for about 2 hours, where everyone else got a headache, then got sick. I've had a snotty nose for a couple of days and then it's gone and it's just been clear. I've had one snotty nose that went white, as in T cells were, my immune system was responding. Then it went. Then I went to Turkey. I was on holiday in Turkey. Got a snotty nose in Turkey briefly as well. It's really strange. I'm like, is this something else environmentally that's affecting me, or is it my immune system working? Who knows? But I just I can't recommend amounts, can't recommend who can, who can't. You could go and see your doctor and say to them about it. Some doctors are really quite with it with vitamin D. I was in the fish and chip shop actually, about 6 months ago. I think I might have mentioned it in the last video. My doctor walked in and I said to him, I don't visit the doctor's surgery much. And he said, well, you've always been quite, good with stuff like that. But he said, I said, oh, I've just kept my vitamin D and iodine levels right. He said, very, very sensible and a good idea. And I was like, he goes, very sensible, like that. He's not restrained by parliamentary acts and statutes anymore, so he could sort of talk. I can't say no more because that could cause this video to not be allowed. But yeah, it was nice having a conversation conversation with retired doctors, because parliamentary acts and statutes are there to protect you, because there are people who will get hurt by advice that's given. That's where the word quack comes from, for Christ's sake. There was people going, oh, this cures that, and it doesn't, right? And that's why parliamentary acts and statutes are there. But unfortunately, it works the opposite way around. So it prevents the doctor or the surgeon sometimes giving advice they would normally give, like a holistic advice, because it hasn't had a trial. They can't, because they get sued, all this other shite. It's just hideous. Yeah. But I just thought I'd check in because I haven't said anything for ages. Um, you've got to walk. You've got to keep yourself fit. Like 10,000 steps to 15,000 steps a day is where you should be. I think our government's saying 6,000 now, and I'm like, okay, 6,000 is better than none, but it's still not enough. You need to be walking. Like for argument's sake, I just drove to my parents' house that's in Putney, dropped the car off because I car share, and I walked back. I walked back from the house. It takes me about 45 minutes. It's about 9,000 steps. My average heart rate walking back, well, it started off at when I first started walking, it shot up to 80. I sit at resting. My resting is usually about 58, 60. When I'm really relaxing, it goes down as low as 46. But I am fit, so that's why if anyone else, if your heart rate's 46, then and you're not fit, you need to see the doctor. That could be a problem. It's not for me, but anyway. So yeah, I was sitting at about 118, I think, when I was walking, which is it's fat burning. It's not aerobic. It's fat burning. Where if I got on a bike, if I got on a push bike, my heart rate's lower. Now, push bikes. I'm not saying don't use a push bike. Push bike's good. It keeps you sort of moving, and it's good if you're going to go for a long distance. But walking's much more effective. Like every week, I walk to the shop. Now, my supermarket's about 3,500 steps there and back. Okay, so I'll go up there with two rucksacks. I'll buy enough food to go in two rucksacks, and I'll carry it back. I'm carrying 20 kilos of food back on my back. But that 20 kilos carrying that food for 10 minutes is giving my body a workout. And you do it once a week, it keeps you strong. Your bones stay strong and your muscles stay strong, but you have to use them. If you don't use them and your hormone levels drop, things start changing. It's like I said to my partner, she started to look like she's had cancer and stuff and had hormones and different. She's off tamoxifen. She's on something else now. But I can see she's getting skinnier, like almost old lady skinnier. And I've said to her, I said, right, you need to do some resistance training. So once a week with me, she's going to do that. Just tell her muscles to stay. It's so important. Like my dad's 81, and he was out with the dog over Christmas with my sister and my other half. We went for a walk around the park. He went off jogging with the dog at 81. Like he looked like a 20-year-old jogging. My mum's 76. She's always walking around. She likes her wine. She has wine Friday and Saturday night, which is makes her health a little bit more of a strain in comparison to my dad. My dad doesn't drink as much. Not that she's an alcoholic or anything. She isn't. But they're both aerobically fit. They've both never been overweight, and they eat mainly whole foods, and they're healthy. My mum hasn't been sick this year because vitamin D again, and my dad, he's not on high levels of vitamin D. He's on lower levels of vitamin D, but he has had a bit of a cold. And I've said to him, I said, maybe your levels aren't right. You should maybe go to Boots or Tesco's and get a test. You can get a test in England, in Tesco's or Boots, £5. It's almost like a pregnancy test or a strep A test. I used to work for Unipath and like they're flat sort of things. A little bit like the COVID what the whole COVID tests we used to have. They look a little bit like that. What you do is you prick your finger and you take the blob and you put this liquid and the blood into a thing and it goes up and it tells you if your levels are right or not. Well, I took one and my levels were low. So then I upped my vitamin D for 2 or 3 weeks and then I waited a month and then I done it again and my levels are optimal. It doesn't say your levels are 60, 70, 80, 90 mg, whatever it is. But it tells you if it's over the optimal that the government said. Most doctors won't give you a vitamin D test, I don't think, unless there's real big reasons to do so. But it's worth asking, especially if you've got health issues. Anyway, gonna go now, 15 minutes in. Peace, love, and light. Happy New Year and all that, and celebrating the sun moving 1 degree north. Yeah, and the planet's circling the sun. Great. Yay. Bye. Peace, love, and light.